So I'm here with Lawrence Alvarez, right? Pronounced that correct?
Correct.
Excellent. With the Toronto Tool Library. And I just had a couple of basic questions as far as like how you guys got started, grants, funding, things like that. And just a couple other interesting questions. So if you wouldn't start mine, just like a quick summary of how you guys started.
Absolutely. So it started with, we got together as Zeitgeist Toronto chapter. There was a whole bunch of us, and we connected around this amazing train of thought that just totally makes absolute sense. And therefore, you start at just another level. So we knew that if we wanted to do something bigger, like a project, for example, we would have to play in a different realm. We have to deal with large amounts of money, and we know that the movement is not necessarily involved in doing that. That's not interested in doing that at this stage. So we started a non-profit, and we called it the Institute for a Resource-Based Economy. And the idea was to put in the name that we were, of course, forwarding this much larger train of thought. So if people Google that, they would know exactly what that was. And we spoke to Jacques and a few people about this, and everyone was like, yeah, totally cool, go for it. Because we explained our mandate, and we wanted to be an educational non-profit that promoted resource sharing, access, community projects, that sort of thing. And so anyway, we started, and we were $0 movement. Basically, we had a board of directors of 4, and we did talks on 3D printing as like a disruptive technology. We did talks on education system and how it's like completely messed up. So we wanted to do something else. So we looked at a tool library. We found out about these things, and we thought, of course, it makes absolute sense because instead of community buying all these drills, instead captured in those tools are the resources that can be used multiple times instead of people going and just buying these things new, shipping them across the world like we just saw in the presentation today. The impact of those container ships are unbelievable. One container ship full of 50 million cars. What the hell? That's like an incredible amount of cars.
Right, and it's done twice, right? It's shipped from the States back to the States. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah. So tools just seemed like a logical place to start. And lucky for us, we hit this wave in Toronto where people were so hungry for this that once we just launched it, the media went insane. We got on like 15 news outlets in one week. We got like thousands of tools donated. Over 95% of our inventory of 2,000 tools has been donated. Anyway, so that's sort of how we got started.
So there was grant.
Right, so in order to start it, we did a fundraising campaign. We raised $5,000. We realized we needed more, so we submitted a grant to the Ontario Trillium Foundation. They funded us for $14,500 over a year, which is amazing. So that we were able to pay our rent and buy all the tools that we wanted and fix up the space, get the money back from our renovations. We wanted to open a second location, so we did a crowdfunding campaign online for $16,000. Exceeded our goal. And then we put in, this is for our second space now, again bigger, even 3 times as big. And then we did another Ontario Trillium Foundation grant, and they funded us for $35,000. And so all this money is going back into paying the rent, keeping the lights on, and tools. So we bought large items like 2 3D printers, MakerBot replicators. We bought a full open source laser cutter that we built, which is valued at around $12,000. Full wood shop. We set up the whole space, and we subsidize the memberships too. So people just pay $50 a year, and they access the thousands of tools multiple times, as many times.
Very cool. So I think you answered most of the questions. Whether the tool library is connected in name to the Zeitgeist movement, but it sounds as if you guys separated.
It's separate.
You guys.
It's important, and actually that's a lot of. It's kind of important to make the distinction. The Zeitgeist movement is not driving that.
Yeah.
However, we are obviously a member of the Zeitgeist movement. I mean, how the hell can I not be? I feel like I would go insane otherwise. Anyway, and it felt like you realize the insanity before, and like after you're like, of course this makes sense.
Right.
Anyway, so it's connected by we're all part of this larger movement. However, we are a non-profit with a board of directors.
Yeah.
And so we operate separately.
Yeah, that's a segue into my last question actually. How did the group, the initial core group, deal with deciding to go have an NGO that deals with money, that deals with the principles that typically go against with the ideas and the rhetoric proposed by the Zeitgeist movement? How was that transition reached?
Okay. It became difficult to organize large-scale projects that had like a complexity to them while in this economic system, while still doing justice to a larger mission, while working in a completely leaderless, moneyless movement. Right. I think I answered that very correctly.
Yeah.
Like politically correctly. Because we realized that if we wanted to do there's some sort of large-scale change that you need to get people like where they're at. Like I love talking to people, and I love like being close to people, hugging them, being like really connecting with them. I love that. But a lot of people, but I'm not just okay just doing it. I also have a facilitator, organizational coordination, like explosion going on inside me all the time, and I need to let that out. And so I needed something that was a bit more large scale, a bit more organized, and something in which I could drive the direction forward. So I partnered with other people, and we all had these fundamental tenets of the Zeitgeist movement always gathering us. But they're also they're not necessarily fundamental tenets of the Zeitgeist movement. To me, I just think of it as like very common sense way to orient ourselves on planet Earth.
Right.
And so with that common sense approach, we formed an organization that could take that common sense approach, but use money from the government to do it.
Right.
And suddenly I give someone a business card, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to listen to this guy," and I'm like, "All right, yo, check this. I'm going to tell you." Yeah, exactly. I'm going to tell you about debt-based currency right now. And, oh man, it's amazing how receptive people are. And they're like, "Yeah, totally." Everyone's like, "Oh, resource-based economy. That's so great." When I talk to them about it, because I'm meeting them on a level that they can more understand. And in a way, like the change has to happen in multiple realms. It's like all giant amounts of ships carrying like amazing humans all towards the same destination, and there's just many captains, many iterations. There's catamarans, there's canoes, there's all sorts of things that are going, but you're all headed in the same direction, and there's value in that. And I see a lot of non-profits, even though they don't go far enough, for sure, that they are doing beautiful work, and there's good intentioned people, and a lot of them, you talk to them about this train of thought, and they're like, "Yeah, of course. Yeah, I know that."
Right. It's just maybe one level removed from where the organization is.
Absolutely. Like for me, like the Zeitgeist movement was like an umbrella. Connected dots.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's everything. You answered the questions beautifully.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Mark. You're a great interviewer.
Well,
too.
thank you. I try. I try, and I'll definitely try and get my butt out to the tool library.
You totally do. We'll laser cut some shit.
Yes. Check out the 3D printer and all that. Thanks a lot, Lawrence.
Hi, Montreal.